Welcome back to another episode of UNCUT XCOM 2 War of the Chosen. Today we're getting introduced to a new soldier that was provided by Rocket Raichu. Sarah Redfield was only 11 years old when mankind was first attacked by aliens, and like many others, her youthful ignorance caused her to believe that our planet would benefit from a new regime. As much as I disagree, when you consider how haphazardly our world was governed before the invasion, I can see why someone would welcome change. At 20 years old, she enlisted in her local Advent peacekeeping force. She and several other human recruits were sedated and brought to an Advent forge, where they would be implanted with psionic chips that turned them into obedient troopers. As soon as the procedure was complete, she was given an assignment guarding a gene therapy clinic. Not long into her duty, a group of resistance fighters ambushed the facility. Sarah's psionic chip was damaged in the attack, making her unable to receive psionic orders and restoring her human personality. During the ambush, her commanding officer remarked that she was broken because she wasn't following psionic orders correctly. Unaware of the extent of the damage, she was brought back to an Advent forge, this time fully conscious. Along the way, she saw some of the atrocities the aliens were committing and managed to slip away. Still clad in Advent armor, she was attacked by several human resistance groups as she wandered, but eventually met Betos, the leader of the skirmishers. Sarah joined with them and is now assisting Xcom as well. Okay people, it's time for us to do a guerrilla ops mission. These are very standard and a breath of fresh air when you do so much new content from War of the Chosen. It's nice to get something familiar. So Operation Massive Key, our objective for today is to recover an item from an Advent facility. It's ranked easy, it's rewarding us with 95 intel, and we are countering the dark event Alien Infiltrator. Of the 3 dark events that are currently active, this is probably the weakest one, but when you're deciding on which dark event to counter, you have to weigh the pros and the cons of the dark event if it becomes active, but also you have to think about the reward for the mission, and intel is pretty valuable, so that is definitely a big driving force in why we're selecting the mission we're selecting. Moving right along to the squad composition, we have a Grenadier, 2 Rangers, a Reaper, and a Specialist. Our Grenadier, Robert the Pillager Wallace, is using a standard loadout, his cannon, grenade launcher, and 2 grenades. Our first Ranger, Lucifer, is using a standard loadout as well, shotgun and a sword, but I swapped out his grenade for a nanofiber vest for 1 extra hit point. Next up, our second Ranger, Francesca Apex Petrova. She is using the Boltcaster, Hunter's Axe, and the gas grenade, so she's got a much more unique loadout. The gas grenade, it deals 3 to 4 damage and poisons all organic enemies hit, so they take damage over time and have reduced accuracy. The Hunter's Axe gives you the additional ability Axe Throw, so we can throw this at the alien's face if we need to. The Boltcaster is a very powerful one-shot weapon, but every time you take a shot you have to reload, so it does limit the mobility of the person using it. Next up, Dragonova is our Reaper. She's got the Vector Rifle, Claymore, and no utility slots. Finally, Randy is our Medic. She's going to keep us nice and healed up if we happen to take any damage. The soldier loadouts are starting to become a mouthful, but we're finally done, so we can go out into the field and kill some aliens.
Menace 1-5, we've got a bead on the Advent data vault near your position. Be advised, self-detonating charges are in place at the target. Move to disarm and extract the package before its contents are destroyed.
And there we go. First things first, we are doing a post-game commentary because my game crashed while I was recording this, and I didn't feel like repeating myself, so here we are. We're going to start things off the way we always do when we have a Reaper in our squad, by moving her forward to scout out the area. And that segues kind of perfectly into the topic for today, which is repetitiveness in video games. And we've got eyes on the first group of enemies. It is an Advent Purifier, also known in my book as the Flamethrower guy, and a Viper. Not a very powerful pod, so we don't have to start worrying about anything just yet. So repetitiveness in video games, it comes up for me because XCOM is kind of a repetitive game. Once you've been through every single mission type, and especially after you've put over 100 hours into the game, you have things down to a science, and you know what to expect in every single encounter. You start memorizing the enemy behaviors and things of that nature. But War of the Chosen has managed to crumple up everything you thought you knew about XCOM, except for the fundamentals, and really start shaking things up. I kind of messed up the metaphor there, but it doesn't matter. We've got eyes on the first pod, and they're in a very good position for us to ambush. So we're going to put the majority of our soldiers on Overwatch, and then start off the battle with a big shotgun blast. This attack does have a 99% chance to hit, so there's a 1% chance I'm going to be very upset, but the reason it has such a high chance to hit is because of the Shadow Strike ability. It's going to connect, so thumbs up for Lucifer. He's very proficient with that thing. The only enemy remaining, of course, is the Viper, but we should make quick work of it. With 3 soldiers on Overwatch, it's not likely to survive. But wait a minute, the first shot is going to miss. Boltcaster coming out, a big hit for 7 damage. Then Randy is going to clean it up with the assault rifle. Oh man, I ran out of breath there for a second, but we're back. We can take a breather now. The enemies are dead, and we can start moving our Reaper forward to get a better view of the battlefield. And just like that, we've got eyes on a turret and 3 more enemies. I believe it was a Purifier, Lancer, and another Viper. So this pod is considerably more powerful than the first. We're going to have to be much more careful about how we engage. And the real trick is going to be dealing with them without an ambush. And to make matters worse, the Chosen Hunter has arrived on the battlefield. In this playthrough, the Hunter is the first Chosen I've made contact with instead of the Assassin. And he's got some new strengths and weaknesses, so let's read them together. Kinetic Plating. Missed shots against this Chosen will generate shielding. Absolutely ridiculous. Soul Eater. Gains health when nearby enemies take damage. Completely asinine ability. His weaknesses, on the other hand, Bewildered. He takes additional damage from 3+ attacks in a single turn. I love it. And his adversary is the Reapers. He takes additional damage from Reapers. It's a good thing we brought Dragonova with us. On a serious note though, even though the strengths, they sound like they're very frustrating, they aren't as overpowered as you would think. They just require you to use a different strategy. For example, missed shots generate shielding. Just make sure that you don't miss. There are plenty of ways for you to guarantee damage in Xcom, whether it's just walking up closer to a target or using a grenade, for example. So these abilities, they seem really scary, but once you just take a minute, step back and analyze it, it's completely bearable. At this point, we've got to figure out the best course of action for dealing with this group of enemies, and the most difficult thing for us to figure out is how do we engage them without a full ambush, because if we don't deal enough damage, they're going to roll right over us. They have a lot of abilities that can make this frustrating, and the best way I can think to do that is to advance with our Grenadier, activate the pod, see where they move, and then go from there. But going back to the Chosen, they are the reason that Xcom does not feel stale, and the same thing applies to the other downloadable contents. Alien Hunters, the Alien Rulers, livened up the gameplay in a very real way without drastically changing the basic mechanics, but they introduced a lot of new tactical decisions for you to make. Now, I've got my eyes on this Advent Stun Lancer with a 69% chance to hit him with the Boltcaster. And this does have a chance to kill because our damage roll is 6 to 8, so I'm going to take it. Unfortunately, it's not going to kill the target. So you have moments like this where we're just engaging in very standard tactical gameplay. For Xcom, we're dealing with Stun Lancers, we're dealing with the Flamethrower guy, we're dealing with the Viper, but we also, in the back of our mind, we have to remember that there's a crazy alien with a super sniper rifle hanging around in the back of the map, and he's thinking about shooting us in the face. So you've got this combination of elements coming in. You've got the basic stuff that if you like XCOM, then you enjoy it, but you've also got some extra elements coming in to spice things up. You know, it's like going on a date. You go to the same restaurant every week, but then one day you're like, hey, this new place opened up and they got cheese ice cream. And you're like, what? That sounds disgusting. But you go try it anyway, and it winds up tasting okay. I've never had cheese-flavored ice cream before. I've never put cheese anywhere near my ice cream, but that's not really the point. The point is we've still got enemies on the field to deal with, so how are we going to deal with them? We've switched our view over to Robert Pillager Wallace, and we've got our eyes on the Viper. It is a high priority target because it can do a lot of annoying stuff. So we're going to take a shot, and it is going to connect, and that shot has brought it within kill range, but not guaranteed kill range. Our Sword Slash can deal between 3 and 5 damage. It's got 5 health remaining, so we need a maximum roll to kill it. We're really rolling the dice here. Boom! Goes the dynamite, or slash goes the sword. We got just enough damage to kill the target, and that cleanup is very beneficial to us. The Viper, it's got poison spit, which is irritating. It poisons your target, so they have reduced accuracy and they take damage over time. It also has the grab ability. It can lash out and pull your soldiers out of cover, and then the other surrounding soldiers will just gun them down and execute them most likely. And finally, it can just slither up to somebody and bind them. All very frustrating things that can happen. And finally, we're going to move our Reaper a little bit, and that's going to give us vision on a second turret on top of the building. But you've got to remember with the Reaper, even though they have a small detection radius, you don't want to leave them in a position where they might get revealed. So we pulled her back and put her behind a rock, behind a little different wall. And the flamethrower guy gonna activate his flamethrower, and it is going to set Lucifer on fire, but it seems kind of fitting almost. It doesn't seem like he's too bothered by it. The stun lance are just going to move over and go on Overwatch. The turret going to take a shot and miss. The turrets have pretty low accuracy, but the fact that they shoot and go on Overwatch at the end of every turn is a limiting factor on the number of safe options you have. You can do whatever the hell you want when enemies are on Overwatch. You can run around, you can pick flowers, you can skip, but you run the risk of getting shot in the damn face if you do that. And I don't want to take that risk, so we have to figure out an intelligent way to clear the Overwatch before moving out of the tracking shot marked ability that the Chosen Hunter used on us. What that ability does is if you stay within the red tiles that the Chosen has marked off, then the soldier that he marked is going to take damage. So what we're going to do is blow up the Advent Stun Lancer and the Purifier by launching a grenade at them. Then we're going to use Dragonova to clean off the Overwatch from the turret. There was a little bit of a misplay here. I should have saved this shot until after I destroyed the cover, but I'm not perfect. Sometimes I make wrong decisions. So while all of this is happening, it's a very difficult thing to release downloadable content that gives your game a new breath of life, right? I played Dawn of War 3 for maybe 25, 35, 45 hours when it first came out, and I can never imagine them coming out with downloadable content that feels like it's significantly altering the gameplay experience in a way that makes me want to play another 45 hours of the game. It's a real-time strategy game, and it has special hero units that you control on the battlefield as well, and if they were to add downloadable content, you can bet your ass it would be in the form of new hero units. But the problem is that the hero units are not the core of the gameplay. They are a very important aspect of the gameplay for the game, but the building of your armies and micromanaging your soldiers and your resource management, that is at the core of the game, and that doesn't get changed by just adding a new super awesome badass for you to play with. The new badasses are fun to play with, but they don't change the fundamentals, and they don't interact too uniquely with the fundamentals as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, if you've played Dawn of War 3 for 500 hours, you probably have something to say about what I'm saying, but this is just my opinion on it. But if we look at the alien rulers, they directly change the interactions of the tactical gameplay. Every time you make a move, they make a move, and that is significantly different from the way XCOM 2 normally plays. And you can see examples of this in games like League of Legends as well, where the newer champions that they add, they're making it a point to add interactions that no other champions in the game have, and that makes it's a big deal. It's really important to spice things up, especially for people that have devoted so much of their life and time to the game. So we've taken a little bit of damage. The burning hit Lucifer for another 2 damage, so he's down 4 hit points, and that turret hit the Pillager for 4 damage. So we're going to heal both of them up with the Gremlin heal. Unfortunately, we only have 2 charges of it, so now any more damage that we take is going to be permanent for the rest of the mission. We also only have 4 turns remaining until the mission is a failure, so we do have to consider hustling just a little bit more if we want to get to the objective on time, especially because there is a chosen assassin wandering around pretty close to it. We've got to deal with him at the same time we have to deal with these turrets on top of the building. This was another misplay. I forgot I had the Shredder ability on my Grenadier for this mission, and if I would have shot at the turret with that first, then it would have removed a point of armor if the shot connected. So, making a lot of mistakes today. What are you gonna do? Now this is where things start to get really interesting though. We're going to wind up killing the turret. We did shred off 1 point of armor, and then we finished it off with Dragonova and the Vector Rifle. There is still a second turret on the top of the building, but it's going to shoot and miss once again. So now we advance a little bit further with Dragonova, and we've laid eyes on the Chosen Hunter. And he's scary. He's got a lot of devastating abilities, and he wants to extract information from us so he can do some bad things to the Avenger, and we don't want that to happen. So we have to think of a way to Wombo combo him, and the reason we have to Wombo combo is because of that kinetic plating ability. If he didn't have that strength, then I would feel significantly more comfortable with just shooting randomly and hoping for a hit, and everything would be all good. But because he has that, I have to consider even going on Overwatch is dangerous, right? Sometimes the Chosen can have the Shadow Step characteristic where they can't be hit with Overwatches, but with kinetic plating, if I put someone on Overwatch and they miss, then he gets a shield. So that's worse than not being able to get hit with Overwatches at all. So kinetic plating in tandem with the Bewildered characteristic makes me think Wombo combo is the way to go. Now, even though Overwatch is not the best idea, I'm still going on it because why not? You got to roll the dice sometimes. But Wombo combo is the name of the game. So I'm going to move my Ranger with the Boltcaster and the Gas Grenade forward. Dragonova is still in shadow, and she still has a Claymore. As soon as I saw the Hunter at the start of the mission, I thought to myself, I got to save the Claymore because he is an adversary to the Reapers, so I want that extra guaranteed damage on him. So we've ended our turn, and we've got a couple of guys on Overwatch despite that being a dangerous maneuver, and the Chosen is going to throw a grenade at Lucifer, but his grenades do not do damage. They daze our units because the Chosen, their modus operandi is not to kill our soldiers, they want information. And this is another element of the War of the Chosen expansion pack that makes the tactical gameplay feel different. The fact that the Chosen are trying to have effects on your strategy layer gameplay in the tactical layer. Now here's where it starts to get crazy. It's time for the Wombo combo. Our Reaper is still in shadow concealment, so he has absolutely no idea that he has walked right into my trap. I am throwing a Claymore underneath his feet. I'm going to switch over to Apex, run next to Lucifer, who has been dazed by the Chosen, and I'm going to slap him in the face a little bit. Actually, I think we're going to tap him on the booty real quick to wake him up. I suppose that would shock anybody's system a little bit. Got an attractive woman touching you on the cheeks. That'll wake your ass up real quick. So he's awoken, and now we have plenty of options for dealing with this guy. We're going to use our throw axe ability first because it is a free action, and because I'm a dirty cheater, you guys already know it has a 100% chance to hit. It's going to hit him, and this is piling on for that Bewildered characteristic. I have a gas grenade in my hand as well, so I'm going to throw that. The Hunter is not immune to poison. He's going to take 3 to 4 damage from that. The Claymore is also going to do damage. I kind of made a mistake here. If this wasn't a gas grenade, I might have accidentally failed the mission because I was throwing the item at the objective and I could have blown up the objective. So I messed up a little bit there, but it's fine. Gas grenades don't hurt the environment that much. So it's really lucky that the objective didn't get destroyed by that. The Chosen has now been knocked out of cover. I still have a shot left with Dragonova. He's very, very weakened, and this shot is very, very likely to hit. So we're going to take it. Oof. Eliminated instantly. Ridiculous. He just did not know what was going on. The first thing hit him, he was like, all right, that's no big deal. It's just the axe. And then I threw the gas grenade, that plus the Claymore. It totaled up to 3 attacks, and he said, whoa, what's this all about? The Reaper shoots him in the face. He's like, oh, hell no. Falls to the ground. He's dead, but he's not completely out of the fight until we go to his lair and defeat him in his home turf. And with that, we pretty much beat the mission. I made yet another misplay. I forgot there was a turret in the back of the building on Overwatch, and I ran Randy through the Overwatch. She got hit, but she didn't die. The reason I went with her to get to the objective is because I didn't want to get anybody else in the poison, and she also has a higher hack rating than the other soldiers, so there was a chance that I was going to get something special as a reward for hacking the chest with her, but I did not get anything. But there we go. We beat the mission, and nobody died, so that's really all we can hope for in these things. So it feels good, and we also got a promotion, and we are going down the Saboteur tree with Dragonova. A lot of the Saboteur Claymore-oriented abilities with the Reapers are ridiculously strong, so that's what we're going to try to optimize with her as quickly as possible. So there we go. With all of that said and done, the name of the game, it's XCOM 2, War of the Chosen. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR Gaming for Comedy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.